to have some introductory webinars for people that are fairly new to human design. So here we are. And I'm here with Lynette Hagins and Ruth Brennan. Both are wonderful human design analysts and teachers. And so they're here to support this introduction to type and strategy. You can expect this to go for about 45 minutes as an introduction, and we will, at the end of our series, we're going to do 4 of these. At the end, we decided to add a webinar just for Q&A, so we'll have time for that as we go. So anyway, welcome. I'm going to turn this over to Ruth, who's going to do the human design introduction. And I'm going to turn my video off, and looking forward to the fun of doing something like this. Okay, here you go, Ruth.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ruth Brennan, and I am thrilled to be here with you today and to be with Lynda and Lynette, who were my mentors and teachers. And it's indeed exciting. And one of my very favorite things to do is to introduce people to the human design system. It's made such a tremendous difference in my life. So I hope you enjoy our time together today. And I would like to mention that you'll be receiving a follow-up email after the webinar, which will give you links to more information and next steps. So here we go. And Lynette, would you mind advancing to the next slide, please? So as Lynda said, we're going to be doing a series of 4 webinars, and a 5th one will be a Q&A. We're going to cover the basics of human design. Today we are doing type and strategy, and next month, authority, and the following month, centers, and we will end up with profile. Next slide, please, Lynette. So let's start with the origin of human design. Whoop. I am going to turn my video off now so we can concentrate on the slides. In 1987, all across the planet, we experienced a mystical event. It was the death of a star, supernova 1987A. And if you were on a mountaintop somewhere, you might have been able to actually see it. In Ibiza, Spain, in January of 1987, Ra Uru was given a vast range of knowledge, which included the human design system, a system of self-discovery, and we call it the science of differentiation. Human design is a synthesis of ancient wisdom and modern science. Ancient wisdoms like Eastern and Western astrology, the Hindu chakra system, the Kabbalah, Tree of Life, and the Chinese I Ching, the Book of Changes. From modern science, it synthesizes neutrinos, genetics, and physics. Now, neutrinos are the smallest known matter to man. And neutrinos are called the breath of stars, or are a result of nuclear fusion in the sun. These neutrinos flow through the sun, through the planets, down to Earth, and actually through our bodies. And unlike sunlight, which comes from the sun, neutrinos actually pass through matter. And as they pass through stars and planets and our bodies, they drop off a little bit of information and pick up a little bit of information and keep on going. There are billions of neutrinos that pass through us. Every centimeter of us, every moment of every day. So we are constantly being informed by these beautiful little particles. We have 64 codons in our genetic code, in our DNA, and each codon has 6 groups of amino acids per codon. And the I Ching has 64 hexagrams and 6 lines per hexagram. So you can see the correlation here of how ancient wisdom meets modern science. This is the human design mandala, and this shows us a graphical representation of the synthesis. Around the outside of the wheel, you'll see the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching, and the circle with the numbers just in from that are the hexagram numbers. In human design, we call these gates. There are 64 gates. The next wheel inside is the astrological wheel, and this shows us the astrological constellations. And inside it all leads towards what we call the body graph, the shape in the middle. And the body graph shows 9 centers, which are energetic hubs that evolved from the Hindu chakra system. And the lines that connect all of the shapes, we call channels, and they are influenced from the Kabbalah, the Sephiroth, and the pathways in the Kabbalah. When we analyze a body graph, we pull it out so we can actually see. And each body graph has 26 activations. And this is my chart. I'm a generator, and this is who I am. We have 13 what we call personality imprints, and 13 what we call design imprints. Personality in black, and design in red. The 13 unconscious activations are imprinted approximately 3 months before we're born. It's actually 88 degrees of solar arc. And this is our biogenetic inheritance. And you see those activations noted in red. And we get 13 additional activations when we separate from our mother at birth. And that is called our personality. And they are shown in black. We are really the quantum of both, a forced marriage of our body, the form, and our personality. Each of us is so very unique. One gate is defined by 1 of 6 lines, and 1 of 6 colors, and 1 of 6 tones, and 1 of 5 bases. So there are 1,080 variations of the same gate in your human design chart. And we aren't going to go into detail during this introductory webinar, but wanted to present this to you to understand how very, very unique each of us is. And the topic of today, our type and strategy, is all about aura. And what is aura? Every single being, according to the aura mechanics of their type, has a goal to be filled in this life. And we have signposts for each type that allow us to know if we have reached that place of fulfillment. And these are called signatures. Each aura type has a strategy for operating aura to aura that allows us to live our signature frequency. There are 4 aura types, 4 basic aura types. Your aura equals your type, equals your strategy, and our strategy protects us. We have the manifestor, roughly 9 3/4% of the population, and these figures are from Jovian Archive, which is the official site of the knowledge of human design, and they're reflected from the number of people who have ordered free charts through Jovian Archive. Then we have the generators, of which there are 2 subtypes, the pure generator and the manifesting generator. And together they are just under 70% of the population. We have projectors, about 2.5% of the population, and the reflector, about 1.39% of the population. And we're going to start with the aura types with the manifestors. And Lynette is a manifestor and is going to take us through what it is to be a manifestor and what the manifestor aura type is all about. Lynette Hagins.
Thanks, Ruth. Welcome, you guys. It's always so nice to see you guys show up live. So like Ruth said, I'm a manifestor, and the existential question, so all of the types have an existential question, and the manifestors is, who do I impact? The thing to understand about manifestors is that it's not so much that we're here to impact, we just do. We impact. No matter what we're doing, we're making an impact. We can't do anything without impacting, whether we know that or not. And most of the time, we're not even paying attention to that, the impact that we have on other people. Once you start paying attention as a manifestor, and you start to really watch and observe how you're impacting, who you're impacting in your environment, you'll see this. This is what our aura does. The strategy of a manifestor is to inform. Okay, so all the types have their own strategy and authority, which we'll do on our next webinar, but the strategy is, if we're dealing with someone that's not an adult, a child, or a youth, they really need to ask permission before they do something. And if you're dealing with an adult, the strategy is informing. Informing simply means this: just letting the other person know what you're going to do before you do it. That's not asking permission. And a lot of times that can be really, manifestors don't typically like to inform. I know that I didn't, especially in the beginning of my process, and I'm still not crazy about it, simply because we're afraid of people controlling us. We're really here to be completely free. Just really free in the way that we move about. And we don't like it when people get in our way. But the thing to understand is, if a manifestor experiments with informing, it removes the resistance, which can cause the not self theme of anger. So, we really want to encourage our manifestor friends to inform, because it's kind of like the parting of the Red Sea when you let someone know what you're doing. And the thing is, it's like, I can remember in the beginning of my process when I sat down and I had to inform my family about a big decision I was making about moving, and I was so scared to do it because I'm not used to informing. And I went ahead and I did it, and there were about 5 people at the table. And as soon as I just let them know that I was going to move and change a lot of things in my life, there was like this collective sigh at the table, like, oh, she told us what she's going to do. And not only that, but they really ended up helping me. So this is a strategy that will really help remove the energetic resistance in the manifestor's life. So if you think about people that don't understand their type, you know, being a manifestor, if you're not self and you're just kind of going about your life and you're impacting everybody, the waves of you know, negativity that can put out and the resistance that you're going to get back. So what we really want to do is we want to arrive at our signature of peace, you know. And it's so funny because oftentimes I'll talk to clients and they'll have children that are manifestors, and they'll say, I don't understand, my child's so sweet, he's never angry, he's always really sensitive, I don't think they can possibly be a manifestor. And I always remind them, I say, well, what about the peace? Remember, a manifestor can deeply impact with peace too. And this can feel like, for me, it's like a fully encompassing peace at times. Like we can just radiate this deep peace. And informing is really what keeps that in check. Yeah, so just getting to that strategy and experimenting with the informing helps you to keep the peace in your life. Now, the mechanics, if you look at a bodygraph, what makes up a manifestor has to have an open sacral, okay, and a motor defined to the throat, and it can be any one of the 4 motors, and that will give you a manifestor type. And like I said before, the aura is closed and repelling. So this is what gives us our impact, is the aura. And really what that means, you guys, it just means that it's pushing outward or back, okay? It pushes. Manifestors are always impacting with their aura. And it's what gives us our impact. So it's helpful to understand that this is not something that we need to compensate for. I remember, especially in the beginning of my process, kind of stepping into being a manifestor, you know, I really wanted people to like me, and I was being overly friendly or like a pretend generator, which we'll explain next, the generator type, and responding all the time and not really initiating. And, you know, manifestors are here to initiate their own way. So if we don't maintain the integrity of our aura, then we don't get to be manifestors. And then we end up being who we're not self, and experiencing, you know, anger. So anger is something that can show up with that not self theme. Let's see what the next slide says. So inform before you act. Something to experiment with. Just the simple act of saying, I'll be right back, I'm just going to go to the kitchen. Or if you're in the grocery store, I'll be right back, I'm just going to go over to aisle 4 to buy some bread. Letting the person know you're walking away, okay? Letting them know about maybe smaller things to practice, and then especially the bigger decisions in your life. You can make a list of the people you're going to inform, and this is a really good idea to do this at least once for a manifestor, because what it does is it forces you to really pay attention and honor the people in your life. And at the same time, when you inform them, it helps them to part the Red Sea and give you clearance to do what you're going to do. So sitting down and making a list can be really helpful. You don't have to take out an all points bulletin in the newspaper and let people know, but just really practicing the informing, because the thing about the strategies is oftentimes, most of the time in the beginning, the mind likes to interpret these strategies as some form of punishment. And they're not. They're here to help us, to really help us get through the resistance. And the only way that you're going to see that they work is by experimenting with them. That's the only way you're going to prove the mechanics to yourself. So when you feel anger as a manifestor, the first thing is you feel it, you recognize it, okay? okay, I feel angry, I ask myself, is there someone that I need to inform? All right, what's making me angry? Do I need to just inform somebody? Just let somebody know, not yell at them, but just simply let them know why I'm angry, you know? And you can observe, as you're observing your process, that's the key here, is pay attention to what's happening. You can see and notice recent decisions where you met resistance and you felt angry and other people were being impacted in a way that, was not correct for them. And the informing really helps us get along with other people so we can go out into the world and be manifestors. Prior to 1781, the manifestors were really the ones that were, we used our anger as a way, in an evolutionary sense, to move the world forward, okay? But we don't need to do that anymore. We're not here to do that anymore. The projector is really here to be the guide, okay? But manifestors are still here, and we're still, we're making an impact, we're living our lives, and the strategy of informing helps us to do that. So getting some ongoing support can be really helpful. Knowing how your design impacts other people, get a reading, do some investigation on your own. And then also really, if you can, getting the birth data of people around you and finding out how they're impacting you. You're going to get a lot of information here at the beginning. It's so much fun. So we've got just a few famous manifestors here. We've got Vladimir Putin, the leader in Russia, definitely making an impact as a manifestor. I like that picture. And then we've got some actors. We've got Tom Cruise and, oh gosh, look at that, Susan Sarandon. And is that Bette Davis? I think so.
Yes, it is, Lynette.
Is it? Okay, good. And Jack Nicholson. I mean, Jack Nicholson can make an impact just with 2 words. So, Susan Sarandon's been really involved in human rights issues, and they're all wonderful actors. So just to kind of give you an idea if you want to investigate on your own. But yeah, we love our manifestors. Let's see what we've got next. I think we've got the generator type. Ruth, are you ready to share with us about generators?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yay!
Thank you, Lynette. So the generators and manifesting generators, the 70% of humanity is a generator or manifesting generator. And the generator's signature frequency is that of satisfaction. Ah, wow, that was nice. And their existential question is, who am I? Generators are here to know themselves. The generator aura is open and enveloping and takes absolutely everything and everyone in their presence in. So they're deeply vulnerable. And if you think of the aura, the size of your aura, if you stretch your arms out and then imagine twice that, your aura extends out around you, top, both sides, underneath. It's everywhere, and it's pulling life towards you. The generator aura type has a defined sacral center. And if you'll see in the image on the upper right, there's a red square. That is the sacral center. And the generators and manifesting generators of the world are the life force of the world. They get the world moving. They're the doers, the builders, the energizer bunnies of the world. There was a great little story, I think, if we look at the 4 types. Manifestors, which Lynette just shared with us a little bit about. The manifestors are the initiators of the world. They get the ball rolling. And the generators pick up that ball and do and build. And I often say it's like if we were building the pyramid, the generators are the one building the pyramid. And the projectors, which we will discuss next, guide the energy, help the process be more efficient. And the reflectors of the world sit back and tell us how everything is going. So the generator and manifesting generator are the builders of the world. Immense creative life force energy. And to align with that, our strategy is to live a life of response. Waiting to respond. And I know when I first heard that I would need to wait to respond, my mind had a fit. How am I ever going to get anything done if I wait to respond? Well, in the world of human design, waiting is an active state. You are doing the things you love to do, living your life. From the moment you put your feet on the ground, when you get up out of bed, you're responding to things. You're thirsty, you get a drink of water. You're hungry, you have a bite to eat. You have an itch, you scratch it. That is response. Responding to things moment by moment. And when you do that, since you're pulling life towards you, your sacral center can then inform you what is correct or not. And we're going to talk a little bit about authority in the next webinar, but I'll just leave it as the sacral, which is a motor, responds to things with a yes. The energy moves towards something, or there's no response, no movement towards something, and that's a no. So when you have responded to something and you feel this great satisfaction, and that is the signature we're looking for, to feel satisfied with our life. The not self theme, and in human design, we use the term not self to describe when we aren't acting according to our design. We can get frustrated. And I'll just share a little story about how that works for me. I get a phone call from someone and they ask me to do something. And I don't want to do it. But I go up to my mind and I think, ooh, maybe I should do that. I'm not going to be a good friend if I don't do that. So I agree to do it. And I go ahead and do it. And I'm so frustrated with myself. And I notice that. I notice that I use my mind to preempt what my body intelligence knew wasn't correct for me. And I experience frustration. The world can be full of frustration. And that's a signpost that we, or the generators of the world, many of them, aren't living according to their nature. They aren't aligned with their nature, and it's very frustrating. Nothing is more incredible than watching a generator who has responded, whose energy moves towards something, and they're loving what they do and doing what they love, and your energy actually regenerates. So we're generators and regenerators, and you get more and more and more energy the more you're doing things you're passionate about. When you've decided to do something that you didn't respond to, but you have reasons, you actually can degenerate. Your energy just degenerates and you get tired and frustrated. It's a beautiful thing if you're a manifestor, if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, to just start to have awareness about how you're making your decisions. And are you satisfied or are you frustrated? So just to reiterate, if you are a generator, you have your sacral defined and there's no motor connected to the throat. If you are a manifesting generator, you have a sacral defined and a motor connected to the throat. And Lynda, who is a manifesting generator, is going to talk to us about being a manifesting generator right after this. And again, the generator's aura is open and enveloping like a huge virtual hug, pulling life towards them and very deeply taking in everyone and everything. Next slide, please, Lynette. So the generator's strategy: wait to respond. Live a life of response. Align with your aura, let it pull everything to you, and then listen to your sacral. Yes, or no response. So our process is getting to know who we are. Who am I? And there are so many very many ways to do that in human design. You can get a reading, you can listen to videos, you can read books, you can talk to other generators, you can enroll in a class. It has been transformational for me to get to know who I really am. And it has changed my life. For ongoing support, it's wonderful to have a group of other generators that you can work with and practice using your sacral with. Sacral sessions are so very powerful when you first start learning about yourself, but also all the way through your process. Even today, if I have a big decision to make, I will ask someone to ask me yes or no questions so I can see what my response is. And if you are an emotional generator or manifesting generator, and this is part of authorities that we will talk about in the next webinar, it's really good to have a support network so you can share experiences about your process. And next slide, please. And here are some famous generators and manifesting generators. So we have Bill Clinton, Oprah Winfrey, Elvis Presley, and the Dalai Lama. Energetic, balls of fire, constantly doing and building and growing. And manifesting generators, and I think I'll pass the baton to Lynda, and she can pick up from here and talk a little bit about being a manifesting generator.
Thank you, Ruth. That was great. Appreciate that. Let me just see if I can, maybe you could go back, Lynette, to the, yeah, there we go. So a manifesting generator is quite a bit different than a generator, actually. The thing that they have in common is they have a defined sacral, the red center. If you look at this bodygraph, you see a red center. They have a defined sacral center, which makes them, which actually says to us when we look at that, they have an open and enveloping aura. So they go hand in hand. These opening and enveloping auras are something that are unique to the generator and the manifesting generator. So that means that with this open and enveloping aura, you pull things to you. See, these auras and these strategies really work to your benefit once you begin to engage with them in your life. So the generator, manifesting generator, since your aura is already pulling things to you, you don't need to go out and initiate anything because things are coming to you. You have this magnetic pulling in aura. So you're always going to be asked, you're always going to be presented with things to respond to. It's just the way the mechanics work. And when we get in our own way, that's when we act on what our mind thinks we should be doing. You know, in our many cultures and societies, we're taught that we have to go out and make it happen. And that would be something that would be appropriate for a manifester, you know, like Lynette was talking. The aura is very different. The manifesting aura pushes out, the generator aura pulls in. And so that's why you have these different strategies. Strategies are really here to help you sort of align yourself with life. You know, we all have this life force energy within us. How do we operate within that life force energy? How do we turn the intelligence of our life, our decision-making of our life over to our innate body consciousness? I mean, this is what human design is really about. It's teaching us how to surrender the mind and drop down into the body and let the body, with its strategy and with its built-in strategy, built-in authority, align with life. So for a generator to align with life, let your aura do the work for you. You know, quit trying to live your life through what your mind is dictating every single day. You know, our mind is dictating, you should do this, you should do that, you should call this person, you should do that. You know, we're always being told by the mind what to do. And that causes us to get out of step with the flow of life. And so human design teaches us how to be in step with the flow of life and how to achieve satisfaction, the signature. When you see a satisfied, or when you are a generator and you feel that sense of satisfaction, you know, you will definitely know what it is. So when we put this kind of a slide up for any type, what we're trying to do is give you signposts to look out for. You know, so if you can look back on a decision you made and say, did I respond? Excuse me, sorry about the noise. Did I respond? Why am I feeling frustration? What happened? Did I initiate? Did I try to do something my mind was dictating to me to do? So these are signposts. So when you feel frustration, ask yourself. When you feel satisfaction, you're gonna be, I'm in a good state. I'm in a state of satisfaction. All is well. And then so this is where the generator and the manifesting generator are similar in common. Now, a generator does not have the sacral or a motor connected to the throat. So what makes a manifesting generator is if you have one of the 4 motors connected to the throat via a channel, that makes you a manifesting generator. So you have these 4 motors. The sacral's one, the root at the bottom is another motor, the solar plexus to the right is another motor, and the heart, that little tiny triangle, that's another motor. So manifesting generator has one of these motors connected to the throat, and the sacral is defined. So that's when you look at a chart, you can see, oh, that's a generator. Oh, that's a manifesting generator. So the difference between the two is that manifesting generators, once they respond, can move into manifestation very quickly. And the thing that they have to watch out for is skipping steps and moving too quickly. So I can't tell you how many times that has happened to me as a manifesting generator, just going too fast and then having to go back and redo things. And often that comes from, you know, listening to my mind, thinking that I should do this thing. And then I run into, you know, frustration because no manifesting generator wants to have to go back and redo something. So you enter into it correctly to begin with through your strategy and authority, and then move through the activity. And then you'll at the end, you'll feel a sense of satisfaction. So that's the big difference. The manifesting generator is all about efficiency. And how can I do this the most efficient way? And I love it when I find an efficient way to do something. And generators are here to perfect. So the pure generator, which is what Ruth is, they're here to perfect something, to really stay with something until they perfect that particular process. And manifesting generators, let's get this done and let's go. So it's a really very different thing. So yeah, it's and responding to things can come in many ways. I mean, you can respond to a poem, you can respond to an email, you can respond to a question my recommendation is to experiment with it. And everybody, you know, we can't, it's kind of like leading a horse to water. You can't make the horse drink it, but we can talk to you about the mechanics of our individual designs, and then you have to go out and experiment with it. And then you find yourself, oh, I was frustrated. Let me go back and review that. Watch your signposts, look for them. See, and you know, the beauty about human design is it makes us aware. So we're constantly checking in with our body consciousness. We're trying to get a sense of where, and then it becomes very subtle, but then you get a sense of it and you feel when you're operating correctly or if you're not operating correctly. And it's okay to make mistakes, you know, it's okay. So it'll be fun next time when we meet to talk about authority, because that puts another layer to all of this. So I think I'm ready to go on, Lynette, to the projector. Great, thank you. One of my very favorite topics is to talk about the projector. Of course, I say that when I talk about all the types. They're all my favorite. They're out, look at the aura. Look how different that aura is. It is focused, right? And it's going into something. So if you follow that energy from the body out into that focal point, you see that it's focusing in on something. So the question that the projector would ask is, who are you? I want to know who you are. And by understanding other people, understanding systems that teach us about people, human design is a perfect example of that. By understanding these things, the projector learns about themselves. So it's only through the other that you really do learn about yourself, because you're not, you know, generators here to learn about themselves. So I always tell this little joke that the perfect relationship is for a generator and a projector to be together, and the generator is going to be very happy because they get to focus on themselves and the projector is going to focus on the generator. And I've actually talked to couples that have been in relationship where he was a projector, she was a generator, and we were doing a session with them with human design, and it was like the light bulbs went on. It's like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. But so the projector, you can imagine, is a very observational type. Really observe, and they look and they take it in, and they're curious, and they're learning, and they're very, very smart. They're very knowledgeable. They have incredible insight that the other can benefit from. But the catch is they cannot give that advice. They cannot give that insight unless they're invited to do so, because they have this incredible aura that goes in. It knows things. It can read your energy. When you're sitting with the projector, they are taking you in. They are digesting you. They are really reading your energy. And if they offer their advice before they're invited, they'll meet resistance. And then they get bitter because it's like, hey, I'm being helpful here, and then they would get bitter because their talent, their gift for this incredible observation and their knowledge is not being appreciated. People are shut the door so you got to learn how your energy operates. It only functions properly when you've been invited. If you invite a projector to give you advice or invite a projector to give you their opinion, then they really shine. And so that's what the projector wants to wait for. You want to have your antenna out for people that recognize you, because it's really all about recognition. And so when people recognize you and invite you, those are your people. They get you. But when you do feel the bitterness, you will know that you are out of step with the way your energy operates. So when you're bitter, you're out of step with the way your energy operates. So that's your signpost. When you feel successful, when you feel like, I was invited, I got to share, I got to make a difference, I gave them something of value, then you're going to feel very successful. And so, I've asked projectors, what does it feel like to get to that signature place of success? And they're like, This is Becky Markley told me this. She said, it feels like you just want to go skipping down the street. You're just so excited and happy that you were able to, that you were recognized, that what you had to offer had some kind of made some kind of a difference in their life. So, and then the mechanics, if you're looking at charts, you see that there's no sacral colored in, that second one up from the bottom in the middle. It's not colored in. It'll always be open for a projector. There'll be other activations. Projector charts can be very complicated. They have quite a variation. And so, but there's just no sacral and there's no motor connected to the throat. So that's how to know so if you have a motor connected to the throat, you're a manifestor. If you have a motor connected to the throat and the sacral colored in red, you're a manifesting generator. And if you have no sacral, no connection to the throat, you are a projector. And your aura is very focused and very absorbing. So I guess we can go to the next slide. So your process, again, who are you, the other person? Who is the other? Study the other through a system. I know projectors that have a collection of systems that they have studied over the years. It's just incredible, the systems that they study, and it's perfect for them. Ongoing support, recommend books, human design books if you're interested in studying human design, beginners information. There's lots of free audios and support groups. You could do a web search on human design. It's really starting to catch on fire out there in the larger communities. So there's a lot of stuff out there that you can research and read and absorb and take in. You can go to different human design organizations, the IHDS, Jovian Archive, and get information. And Ra Uru Hu, the founder of human design, he recognized that projectors were going to need a very thorough education just because of their nature. So he initiated, as a manifestor does, the 20% projector discount that is offered on certain products and materials to make it a little bit easier for the projector to do their studies. So anyway, next slide. So here are some examples of projectors. I don't think I need to name them. Marilyn Monroe, Mick Jagger, John Kennedy, Barack Obama, Fidel Castro. So just to give you an idea, and of course there's a ton more. And okay, next slide. Reflector, another one of my favorites. Look at their aura. Look how different that is from the rest. These are the best we can do, sort of drawings of what the aura, to help us understand what the aura is like. Their reflectors are really special, very, very unique beings. And I love it when reflectors come to human design because they have a difficult time because they're only 1% of the population. So they're very, very different than everybody else. And so they are different and they're looking for who else is different. In other words, who is not caught up in homogenization, basically. We live in a very homogenized world where there's sameness. Everybody's trying to fit the picture of this or that. Everybody's trying to be the same. And reflectors see who is different. There's somebody who is unique and different. And, that is special. Their strategy, which is, extremely different than the rest of ours, is wait 28.5 days, basically wait a moon cycle to make a decision. And the reason for that is they have a complicated design, even though there's no centers colored in. There's no centers defined. But as the transits take place, their design changes. And the moon will pass through various aspects of their design, and that is the consistent pattern. The moon's cycle is their consistent pattern, which is great for them. I mean, they have something consistent. When you have a lot of openness, you don't have a lot of consistency. So the not self theme of the reflector is disappointment. So that is your signpost. When you feel disappointed in the world, or you feel disappointed in the other, you are not seeing things in a transcendent sort of way. You need to remember the bigger picture. Sorry, just had a tickle in my throat. So their signature is called surprise. So think about that for a minute. You go from disappointment to surprise. Isn't that lovely to have surprise in your life? And that is the most lovely thing that a reflector can experience is, oh, a nice surprise of not being disappointed anymore. There is something out there that's not disappointing. There is something different out there. And of course, like I said, their mechanics is there's no fixed definition. So they're constantly sort of skimming and sampling everybody out there. So their aura is resistant in sampling. So even though they have a lot of open, all their centers are open and they have very open design, it does not make them vulnerable. They are just skimming the surface, sampling. You know, it's like the canary in the coal mine. If you were to have a big meeting, for example, and you had a projector there, you could check in with the projector and say, how are things going? Because they read the energy of what's going on around them, and the projector or the reflector can give you that feedback and let you know how things are going. That's why, you know, sometimes when we speak about them, we talk about them being the canary in the coal mine. And so if you have a reflector child, for example, and they're not doing well in school or whatever activity, it means that there's something there that needs to change. Maybe they just need to move from the front row to the back row. Maybe they need to move from the back row to the front row, or they need to sit by somebody else because they're picking up energy of something that is not supporting their well-being. So, you know, you always want to check with a reflector and see how they're doing. Next slide. Hold on one second. Okay. So again, their strategy, wait the full cycle of the moon. I know many reflectors that go, once they find out who they are, they go on a retreat for a month to be as by themselves as they possibly can, to get out of everybody else's aura and just to just get in touch with that moon cycle for themselves. And anyone that has done that as a reflector has had a beautiful experience. There's a wonderful reflector in our community. Her name is Nisarg, and she does reflector retreats in Europe. Yeah, she's done a great job of supporting reflectors in the human design community. So your process, explore who you are, ask who am I in this moment? And that's a real big key. You have a reflector as a friend and you say, how are you? And they say, well, in this moment, this is how I am. And then that can change in 5 minutes. I mean, life literally can be such a surprise because of that openness that they have. So if you're a reflector, it would be good for you to obviously start using the moon and its cycle to to work with life, monitor transits, take a transit course, take the ABC course, because that's give you an understanding of energy and the channel understanding, and get involved with some other reflector network groups. There's groups that got started up on Facebook, and go to the IHDS website and look for some reflectors there, and see if you can find some, and get connected with other reflectors, or take a class from a reflector teacher, and you'll learn a lot. Okay, let's check the next slide. Here's an example of the pattern of the moon. So you can see in the chart on the left that, sometimes your throat's going to get defined, sometimes, depending on what's happening with the transits, with where the planets are moving, where the moon is moving, what's happening in the sky. And, sometimes you're going to have a lot of definition one day, and then the next day you're not going to have any definition, and the next day you're going to have different definition. So that's why the cycle of the moon is very helpful before you make a decision. And talk to people, and so you can hear what you have to say about the decision that you're trying to make. So yeah, there's lots to look into if you're a reflector. Go ahead, next slide. Here's some famous reflectors that you can take a look at. And next slide. So I love this slide. This is acceptance by type. What is that? So as a manifestor, you may be beginning to remember the fire that burns deep within you, the fire that you have probably allowed so many people to dampen. So this is what happens to manifestors in society. They get dampened down. There's this, because of the manifestor aura being what it is, people try to control them. So then they get just controlled, and they can't be who they really are. As a generator or a manifesting generator, you may feel completely liberated to learn what you have always suspected about yourself, that you are not designed to be a go-getter. And as you relax, things happen more smoothly. Remember, everything comes to a generator, a manifesting generator. I tell manifestors, for anything valuable in your life to happen, you have to initiate it. You have to start it. Manifestors are starters. Generators, manifesting generators, you let life come and you respond. That's how you engage, and that's how you know what's good for you out of that response. And as a projector, you may feel a sense of relief that you do not have to do anything in order to get the recognition that you deserve, that you only have to wait and your invitation will come. You have the aura of someone that gets invited. And it's so cute because so many projectors run around inviting everybody else. But really, it's about you getting the invitation. And you have to sort of, we all do. We all have to get out of our own way and let our aura do the work. As a reflector, you may have finally understood why you feel so different from everyone around you, and you may well be excited to learn more about your extraordinary design. Reflectors have a very special connection and relationship with the transit field, with the moon, with the solar activity that goes on within our solar system. Okay, next slide. Next steps. So, would you like to start your experiment of living your design? We are here to invite you. I mean, this is the whole purpose of it, is to, inform the manifestor, to ask the generator, to invite the projector, and hopefully to surprise the reflector. You can join our mailing list. You can come to our next webinar on authority. We're going to do that in a month. You can get a free human design chart. You can purchase a personal report. We're going to send you a coupon for that. And we're going to send you a follow-up email with all these details of what you can do if you want to continue to learn about your human design. You can get a foundation reading, and you can come to a Living Your Design workshop. Lynette, her email is office@ihdschool.com, and she is a manifestor that is on top of things. So if you email her, you'll get a response. Look for a follow-up email with links and more info. So we'll be putting that together in the next day or so, and we'll send that out to you so that you can take advantage of some of these things that we're offering, and hopefully continue with our webinars and join us for more. So I'm going to be quiet now and let Lynette and Ruth jump in and say goodbye, hello, or add any comments to what I talked about. What did I forget? And take it away.
Thanks, Lynda. That was great. I really enjoyed that. Actually, I'm just reading the chat. Lucy sent me a chat. Lucy, I did get your email and I will reply to you. So you're not too late to join. So I will get back to you. So I just want to say thanks to everybody for attending. It's really great when you guys can show up live. And just so you know that we are here to support you. And if you have questions, like Lynda said, please feel free to email me at office@ihdschool.com, and I'll do my very best to answer your questions and help you find what you're responding to, feeling invited to, initiating, whatever you're looking for, wherever your process is. So thanks again for showing up, and I hope to see all of you at the next webinar. Let's see, Ruth has raised her hand. Go ahead, Ruth.
Oh, I don't even know how I did that, but
well,
I'm so glad I did.
Your body responded.
Yes. Oh, thank you all so much for joining us today. There was a lot of material to cover. It is a complex system, but it's not complicated. And we are here to answer any questions you might have. And again, Lynette, if you can verify that there will be the recording available for people.
Yes, we will get that out.
Good. So you'll have a recording so that you can go back over the material again, and you will be getting links for ways to get more information and more explanation. Human design is a fascinating system that helps you liberate your uniqueness and become a very unique, differentiated individual in a homogenized world, and it can set you free. So thank you all so much for joining us. We hope to see you next time, and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye
Bye,
for now.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.